What was your first impression of the college when you started?
Well, first of all, you had to find it.
I looked around and I saw orange trees everywhere.
We had orange picks here at one point, where the community would come out and they would pick oranges.
I remember my parents came here, and we did it a few times. We'd come by and you'd have like an orange bag and you just throw a bunch of oranges in it. And I mean, it was just an open field. It was just all orange groves.
It was buried behind the orange trees at the corner of Jeffrey and Irvine Center Drive.
There were actually cows pasturing.
Irvine and Orange County already seemed sort of built out by that time. The college, by contrast, was surrounded by an orange grove.
I remember one of the problems was people didn't even realize it was here. Yeah. So you'd say IVC, they would say, what's that?
Because you would drive down Jeffrey and you'd be like, is that a school?
When they started building things like the library and the Bistic building, it was the amount of animals that were coming out of these fields and going into our buildings was high.
And I thought, this college is being built up brick by brick, isn't it? You know, 1 yard of carpet by a yard of carpet. And I said, I kind of like this.
It was a hidden gem. The faculty, the staff, administrators, we all knew each other.
I was very lucky to be here at the beginning of something that even then I could tell was going to grow and develop through the years.
This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for very few people to get to open a college.
It was all camaraderie and fun in those days. It was a great spirit.
That's awesome.
Because we were building a college.
So when you first started, what was your first impression of the college?
Yeah, we had some very funky buildings there in those days. You know, it was pretty much tacked together. As I said, money was very, very tight, and they didn't have anything like this at all. So we were running on empty almost all the time.
There was just 13 of them, and so they all knew each other. They were only in the A200 building. The counselors and the faculty and the classrooms were all in A200. And so they were passing each other and around and about and saw each other all day long and making friends and getting to know each other. Their offices were all together. Counselors were mixed in with the faculty. And I think that seemed to be a really good idea.
It was intimate. It was, familiar. And I like the fact, that, again, there weren't very many buildings. There were portable classrooms.
They hire me. There's no gymnasium. There's no team. There's no team. This is it. This is the very start of men's volleyball here at Irvine Valley.
I remember when I would drive to school, Irvine Center Drive here did not have the median in the road, and when it would rain, the oranges would flood the streets and it was hard to drive here.
So it was really, really small. And it was that. It was something that was accessible, familiar.
The first time I taught a class here was in that semester I gave, fall of '78. They didn't have my rooms ready when they assigned me my classes. No place to teach. They just had TVA on there, right? Which meant what to me, I didn't know. So I showed up. I'm teaching a Humanities 1 class. There's 45 students in it. We're going to talk about Dante or somebody. And I get out there and they don't have a room for me. Instead, what they've done is they set up a bunch of folding chairs in that outdoor quad by that clock tower. There's 40 chairs there. So the students showed up. They sit down. I start my lecture. And everyone starts crowding around and listening to this lecture from this guy on something, with my students out there in the sun and the rain, listening to this thing. That lasted all semester long.
We did everything back in the early days. We printed the tickets, we sold the tickets, we recruited all our friends to come to the concerts, and there were people in the choir that would sell as many as 25 tickets to friends of theirs, and they would be honored. We'd clap for them for selling the most tickets, and hand printed flyers. Of course, this is pre everything technologically. We had paper and photocopiers. We had those, so that was something. And so we did all that. We did all the publicity. We got ads into the local paper, delivered to all the homes in Irvine for free, the Irvine World News.
So we were all together in 2 buildings, the faculty, right? Mixed disciplines, right? Life sciences, English, and the arts in A200, and then on the other side of campus, the physical sciences and business, right? And it really had a sense of community about it that I really appreciated, coming from a large institution like UCI and even a larger hometown such as Los Angeles. So to be sort of adopted into this community here, where I ended up spending my entire academic career, was wonderful.
It was a very friendly place. I mean, because it was basically centered around that one quad, and there was no cafeteria, there was only Greg's truck. I'm sure people told you about Greg's truck. And so we used to all hang out there. And so there's a lot of interaction between the faculty and the staff, and the faculty and the faculty and the students, and everybody was there together. So it's just a wonderful kind of somewhat intimate but energetic mood about the place. I think people were excited to have this new college.
Really cooperative. The small faculty, so we all worked together and put in so many hours that we became a social group as well.
Yeah, it was a really good administration early on.
It was fun. It was good. They enjoyed it. They did things together. They celebrated together, and the students were all in there all the time, asking questions and going from one office to the next, meeting the different teachers. So
we were such a small group of people. There were so many of us from the different departments, different schools that were together. And it was just lovely, a way of socializing and getting to know each other.
I think the most important thing was, for me, the support we gave the students. I think preparing them well enough to transition to the big campuses where the environment would be different, they wouldn't have the same small unity and support system that we offered them. Preparing them was very important. And we knew we were doing that well because the students would return and thank us.
It was an enhancement of my own personal understanding when I had my own daughter who came through the Irvine schools and then came to the college and benefited so much from wonderful teachers that she loved and had a great experience here. And so if there's no other reason why IVC is very near and dear to my heart, that's certainly one. She loves this place. She calls herself an Irvine faculty baby because she got passed around as a little baby when she came into my life and was loved and known by the faculty here.
We've always been a college that has wanted to do better. We like to push ourselves. We've always wanted to do that. And we're willing to do hard things in order to be better. We're willing to look at data that may make us uncomfortable even in order to be better. That's what completion teams do. We're willing to try new things.
I remember particularly being at the Laguna Beach Hotel and talking to a group there when they wanted to know all about IVC. And every time I went, I had a new program or a new idea to talk about. It was just so much fun to be out in their community to reveal different aspects of the college because all of the faculty at that time were very creative and doing wonderful things.
I've taught in every building, or at least all the original buildings on campus at one time or another. And so there's a lot of memories for me about what it's like to open the door at the beginning of a new semester and see those students and recognize what they're here for and know, perhaps more than they even know, what they're about to go through and how it's going to bring them closer to their goals. So to me, the college really is those classrooms, right? Those desks and those students that show up year after year, trusting that they've come to a place that can take them closer to their goals.
If you could describe IVC in one word or phrase, what would it be?
We opted out of that.
Yeah, we just said, yeah, come on. It's not possible. How do you do that?
If you could describe IVC in one word or phrase, what would it be?
Amazing.
I would say caring.
Inclusive and industrious.
I had many words in mind. Fun was one of them because I really have fun at IVC. I enjoy my work.
Community. Right. We put the community in community college when we're at our best.
An institution that not just cares about students, but understands that students are the heart, the purpose of our work.
It's a word I mentioned at the very beginning, and it really still resonates for me very strongly. That's the word excellence.
Well, I think integrity would be one of them, but then it's sort of like a close second is earnestness. There's just a kind of, genuine desire to do the right thing, I think. So those two words for me, probably.
And for me, it'd probably be like passion and resilience would probably be the words I would use for the college.
If you could describe IVC in one word or phrase, what would it be?
A chance.